Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday, June 7th, 2021 Elyria City Council meeting. At this time, I'd like to take a moment of reflective silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Sarah, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, could I have roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Callahan.
Here.
Mr. Sira. Here. Mr. Oswald.
Here.
Mr. Baird.
Here.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Here.
Mr. Tollett.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons.
Here.
Mrs. Davis.
Here.
Mrs. Keys.
Here.
Mr. Jesse.
Here.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
All present.
Are there any public hearings?
There are none.
Could I get approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sarah.
Second.
Second by Mr. Baird. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Remarks or reports from city officials. Mayor Whitfield.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, City Council members, and good evening, residents and guests today. I don't have anything to report. We've had a lot going on this past week, but I know we have a full agenda tonight, so I'm not going to belabor that. But thank y'all who came out to the groundbreaking today with Crane, and here to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mayor Whitfield? Some of the council members were at the groundbreaking. It was an incredible ceremony, and it was pointed out by Mrs. Keys that today, and I wanted to recognize Crane for that. They really emphasized the need and the desire to stay here and maintain their services here over in the city of Elyria. So that was very much appreciated, and we look forward to working with them not only on this project but the future projects hopefully to be coming down in the future. So any other questions for Mr. Tollett?
Through you, Mr. President. Have we set a date yet for the complete opening of City Hall? When the signs on the doors can come down? That question came up this week. Thank you.
So through you, Council President, City Hall is open, and we are fully open. The only difference is now we're asking people to check in at the utilities window, and it's kind of going in the direction we're going in terms of security. So that's one thing we're looking at right now is eventually going to the place where we would have security at the front there. So we're just starting to build that habit towards that direction of having people check in at the utility window, but it's fully open, and I'm sure the Safety Service Director can tell you the details.
Very good. With that being said, Safety Service Director Brubaker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, just to build on that, City Hall is opened 8:30 till 4 o'clock, Monday through Friday. The kiosk downstairs is operational. We do have an employee that is out there when anybody comes in to pay their bill. In fact, Ms. Connor has suggested that employees pay their water bill to kind of see how the kiosk system works. And then as the doors get adjusted here, and Mr. Henderson from IT has been working on those, the kiosk will be open much later so folks could pay their utility bills. But City Hall is open to anybody that wants to come in. We're just, again, asking to use that back entrance for the time being. And then as the second part of my report, the only other item I had is I want to give a shout out to one of our water distribution employees. I received an email last week from a gentleman over on Bond Street, and this has to do with a water line replacement as well as a water meter replacement. And it says, I just had my water line replaced from the street to the house. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Baylog, which is Chris Baylog in our water distribution department, his excellent service. From the beginning, he introduced himself. He let me know what to expect as the project moved forward. Mr. Baylog possesses excellent communication skills by setting a very clear expectation. I always felt that he had my best interest in mind. I have a finished basement which required relocating the water meter and running the copper line between the joists. Mr. Baylog went above and beyond what is considered a normal installation. It is clear that the Water Distribution Department has excellent leadership, demonstrating a sincere desire to take care of its residents. This is from a gentleman at 526 Bond Street. So kudos to Mr. Baylog and our Water Distribution Department. And as I get these informations, I did also send him a card from the administration thanking him for his service in this regards. But that is my report for this evening.
Very good. Director Brubaker, I know the last meeting we mentioned about just the status of the Mardi Gras. I know they're starting to move over there. Is there any update on that? Is there going to be more activity? Someone asked me about it again this week, and I'm just trying to follow through.
Through you, Mr. President, I've been in contact with Mr. Gill, and I know Ms. Culvert has been in contact with the consultant in regards to that. We're hopeful that it's going to start. I thought it was going to start last week, but we're asking them to move forward with starting that demolition, getting the equipment moving forward. I did put a call into their project manager this afternoon, expecting a question tonight, and I did not get a call back. So as soon as I know something, I will send out some information.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Oswald.
Through you, Mr. President. You did say that the City Hall is open. Does that mean that every one of our city workers, our department workers are all at their chairs, or are they still, some of them working at home at this point? Thank you.
Through you, Mr. President, all of our employees that I am aware of in regards to City Hall and our ASME employees, police and fire are all and have been back to work. I can't speak to other elected officials or anything, but I believe everybody is back to work and has been, and we have nobody currently working remotely.
Any other questions for Director Brubaker? Thank you. Finance Director Plesky.
No report at this time, Mr. President.
Law Director Deary.
Good evening, Mr. President. I would request council adjourn into an executive session to discuss imminent litigation, and I would not anticipate any legislative action coming out of that this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Elyria Police Department. Chief Whiteley. Elyria Fire Department, Assistant Chief Gall.
Well, on behalf of the Fire Department and Chief Mack, I appreciate the opportunity to address Council, President, and Mayor's staff. Two areas that I'd like to touch base on. First being our apparatus. We entered into an agreement in May of 2020 to purchase a new pumper. Now, 14 months later, this apparatus purchase is getting nearing completion. Our committee for the fire department will meet with to do a pre-delivery inspection. They're scheduling this, providing there are no deficiencies noted. We anticipate receiving this pumper in July. This is from a company out of Springfield, Ohio, a Sudfin company. So, Ohio company providing for our city. The other area I would share on is staffing. Conditional employment has been extended to 3 candidates. They're going through the background checks, psychological and physical exams. We anticipate, as they clear these process, that they will be able to be sworn in perhaps late this month, beginning of next month. So things, as far as to July, we should see staffing and a new pumper. One other note as far as staffing, a clerk typist position has been created for the Fire Prevention Bureau. AFSCME Local 277 followed a job bid process. This person will begin for our Fire Prevention Bureau on June 15th. We anticipate with both having new machinery and manpower that our ability to provide better service to the citizens of our great city will be enhanced. And that concludes the report. Any questions?
Thank you, Assistant Chief. Any questions for Assistant Chief Gall? Very good. Thank you. Assistant Safety Service Director Calvert. Any questions for Ms. Calvert? Thank you. Assistant Chief Williams? Oh, sorry. Yeah, maybe you're going to get there. Assistant Safety Service Director Williams, my apologies. Very good. Any questions from? Very good. Thank you. Engineer Schneider.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to update council on a few things. Street sweeping started this week, so you'll see those signs going up. It typically takes about 3 to 4 weeks to sweep the entire city. Obviously, that depends on the weather as well, so if it's raining too hard, they'll suspend sweeping, but you'll see that in your neighborhood shortly. Lowell Street resurfacing project should start next week. The contractor has notified us he plans to start next week, so you'll see some signs popping up hopefully on Monday, and hopefully nothing changes on their schedule. South Park Trail and parking lot will also, the improvements there will also be starting next week, so we're starting to get in a little bit more activity. We currently have the street resurfacing phase 1 portion out for bid. It's not bid out yet, but we'll get that and hopefully start it in the next month or so. But with that, if council has any questions, feel free to.
Any questions for Engineer Schneider in regards to any projects that are going? Mr. Tolet.
Through you, Mr. President, the Lowell Street paving project, does that include the bridge project at this time also?
The limits of it are from 113 all the way up to the corporation limits, which over by the old 3M plant. The bridge itself is not included in the project because it's much more than what we got funding for, but the asphalt that leads up to the bridge on both sides, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Engineer Schneider? Very good. Assistant Safety Service Director Flanders, I see you in the back there. Any questions for Ms. Flanders at this time? Parks Director, Ms. Reardon.
Thank you, Chair, through you. Just a few things. North and East pools will open on June 15th, so we're excited the day after schools are out, those will be open. We still have registration going on for some of our summer programs. We're still hiring for camp counselors, so if anybody knows of anyone. And then the East Playground is open, and I did want to give a special thank you to wastewater, streets, and water distribution. They were able to send over a couple guys to help us mulch that, and we were able to do 440 yards of mulch in about 6 hours. So that's done, and there are kids constantly on it. So, but that's about it. I'll keep it short, but any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Mr. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you. Carrie, I just want to say the square looked magnificent on Monday. I mean, it still does, but, you know, what a difference from a year ago. But, I mean, just spectacular. And as we homeowners know, the winds the previous couple days put tons of leaves and sticks in the yards. And you obviously had people over there picking all that up, but just magnificent looking.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pass that on to Jay and his crew, and they were right on it, as they typically are. But yeah, that was weird weather that came through really quickly, so.
Any other questions for Ms. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to Ms. Reardon. This isn't a question, it's just a comment. I went up to West Park yesterday because I like hanging up there, and the splash pad was packed, and the kids were having fun. So I think that was such a great investment. So thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Mr. Oswald.
Through you, Mr. President. Again, I wanted to make a comment because it wasn't like this when I was growing up. If you go and see that play set that's over at East Park, it's phenomenal. And I watched them build it. They have a zip line over there. I'm like, a zip line, really? But it's pretty cool. And when they get the pavilion done, boy, that's going to be a great. Is that in your word, Judy? Lucky dog. So thank you very much. They did a great job.
Very good. Any other comments for Director Reardon? Thank you, Director Reardon. Mayor Whitfield.
Yeah, so wanted to also introduce our new Director of HR, Ms. Jean Yousefi. And so if you would come on up and introduce yourself and to the city, and again, welcome, and we're excited to have you join the team, and give a little bit about your background, and she's able to answer any questions as well.
Okay.
There you go.
Lots of things going on, so I'm very excited to be part of it. I came from, most recently at the City of Lakewood. I was there for 12 years, worked in healthcare for a long time before that. I went to Ohio University, go Bobcats, for my undergraduate in psychology, and then I got my master's in public administration at American University in Washington, D.C. Been working in HR for 20 plus years and just enjoy every minute of it.
Well, very good. Well, welcome to the city of Elyria. We look forward to working with you. And is there any comments in regards to from the city council members? No, we're very good.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Wastewater pollution control, Mr. Corzan. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to thank Mrs. Keys for coming out to the plant on Friday for a tour. I know a number of you have been there. You know how big that place is. But we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, got done right about noon, and it was just starting to get a little warm at that point. But we had a good day for it. So Mrs. Keys got to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good being how all the processes worked very well to give 6 million gallons of crisp, clear, sparkling water going back to the Black River every day. And also gave me the opportunity to show her the places where projects are going to be taking place, some of the areas where we have a lot of concrete work that needs to be done out there. There's so much left to be done, but I just want to thank you for coming out and taking the time and having the interest.
Yes, Ms. Keys.
Through you, Mr. President, a follow-up to that is I feel like our wastewater treatment plant and Mr. Corzan has set the bar really high. It is a gold standard, and we should all be really, really proud. I know that I'm proud of Terry because we graduated from high school together, and it was probably, and I've taken a lot of tours in my life, it was hands down the best tour I have ever taken. And I asked a lot of questions, and he never, he answered every single one of them. Even though he had to dumb some stuff down for me, it was really just the best tour I've ever taken. And I would encourage my colleagues that have not taken the tour or anyone in administration to please do so, because it was, like I said, the best tour I've ever taken, ever. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much. And anyone that wants to come out, pick a cooler day, because when you get out there and it's like 95 degrees, it's really hot for 2 or 3 hours under the sun. Thank you.
Yeah, it was over almost 8,000 steps, so my watch was on.
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Corzine? Thank you, Mr. Corzine. All right. President's referrals and remonstrances. Item number 1, community development. Item number 2, community development. Item number 3, community development. Item number 4, community development and finance. Item number 5, community development and finance. Item number 6, finance. Item number 7, finance. Item number 8, finance. Item number 9, utilities, safety, and environment. Number 10, utilities, safety, and environment. Item number 11, utilities, safety, and environment. Item number 12, utilities, safety, and environment. Items 13 through 14 received and placed on file at the clerk's office. Petitions and remonstrances from council members.
There are none.
Petitions and remonstrances from the lobby.
Yes, we have Chase Ferris from Save Our Children in regards to Oakwood School.
Welcome, Mr. Ferris. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good now. All right. Chase Ferris, 4229 Ivanhoe Drive, Lorain, Ohio. Sorry. All right. I'm good. So I gotta like. No, it's cool. I can do this. This should be cool. Thank you. All right. So pretty much here today, I'm gonna talk to you guys about our proposal that we submitted a few weeks back about Save Our Children and the possibility of us occupying some portion of the Oakwood School, which will become a part of the city. Introduction. I'm Chase Ferris, born and raised in Elyria, Ohio. West Side, of course. Graduated from Elyria High School, full football scholarship to Ohio State. Graduated with my bachelor's. Then went on to play in the NFL, but also while I was playing, I came back and finished my master's degree as well. After that, after playing was over with, I played in a couple more leagues. Injuries kind of hindered me playing. And after you stop having fun with it, you're pretty much done with the game. So for me, I did a lot of soul searching while living in Columbus for the last, I would say, decade. And I realized that at the end of the day, they have something that they say down there at Ohio State. Urban Meyer always will say, you should never look to pay it back, but always pay it forward. And he got that quote from the great Woody Hayes. So for me, being able to come back here and affect change on these children, the at-risk youth in our community, is really, it's amazing to me to be able to, be the change I want to see. That's literally what I strive for. Save Our Children. Our mission is to change lives by improving literacy, cultivating leadership skills, and promoting academic excellence among the at-risk youth in our community. Like I said, right now we offer programming to kids from age 5 to 18, which is pretty much K through 12. History of the program. Started over 30 years ago by the youth ministries over at Asbury Methodist Church on the south side of Elyria. It then over time transitioned to community-based programming. We offer 3 programs right now, which is our K through 8 program, We have our 9 through 12 program, which we call ETAS, which is Elyria Teens Achieve Success. And then we also have our Summer Dreamers, which is an 8-week summer camp that we offer for both K through 8 and 9 through 12. We focus on STEAM explorations. We have a lot of community partners that we work with in order to get different things done and to give these kids different experiences. Benefits. Currently, right now, we operate out of the First Congregational Church across the street. Right now, our serving size is pretty much, we max out at 128 kids. Moving over to Oakwood, it will allow us to over double our current student population and max out at around 250 kids. We currently occupy 4 classrooms along with a great space. Over at Oakwood, we would then occupy 10 classrooms, which once again would allow us to have that continued school setting, which would promote academic success as well. Currently, we have limited to no outdoor space, and I mean, with us being able to occupy a portion of Oakwood, which will allow West Park to become the biggest park in the city of Elyria, the possibilities are endless there. Right now, we operate out of a small kitchen. We've had talks with funders in hopes to create a larger commercial kitchen cafeteria space that will be able to be used by both us and other occupants of the building as well. Our current local partnerships, first and foremost, Elyria City Schools, because these are Elyria's children. So how could we be an after-school program and not partner with them? Second Harvest is a big portion of what we do as well, being a hot meal program. Every kid that comes to us, they receive a hot meal every day, no matter what. And then we also give them snacks. We also partner with the schools and send them weekly food kits home as well. We have partnerships with Lorraine County Community College. We do a lot of STEM programming with them. It's currently virtual right now, but we're looking forward to what the summer and the next year brings to get that more in person as well. Big funders like Stocker, Community Foundation. We love the Urban League as well. They work with us, Licata, Arts Council, Parks and Recs, and of course the City of Elyria. We appreciate you all. That's it. So, in closing, I thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to share my view, or really our view, as I have some of my board members here as well. They work pretty hard with helping me create this vision of what the future of SOC looks like and what the future of Elyria can be, and that's bright. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Thank you for your presentation tonight. I know the Oakwood Schools is, part of the dialogue that we've had in the past, and looking forward for that opportunity over there. We've had a great partnership with Save Our Children over the many years through the Community Development Block Grant, and this is just another way for us to enhance that partnership over and through. I know, Ms. Mitchell, this is in your ward. I don't know if you wanted to make any comments at this particular time, but I know this is just things that we're just kind of talking and considering, so.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Ferris, and he shared his vision with me, and it is exciting. And I think it would be a great use of Oakwood Schools if we could come to an agreement between the city and Mr. Ferris and Save Our Children. But I think it would be great, and it's a very positive way to go.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell.
And Mrs. Davis.
Ms. Davis.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Ferris, I see that your capacity will be increased to 250. You want to get it up to 250. So I'm hoping that, is this encompassing the whole city of Elyria? Because 125 kids, so is they just basically from one area? And
no. So
they're all over?
So right now, we serve the entire community, the entire city of Elyria. We're just capped at 128 right now. So everything after 128 creates a wait list for us. So, the more space we have, the more kids we can serve. And I believe right now the max for our portion of the building would be around 400, but we still want to make sure we keep a 10-to-1 ratio when it comes to students, so we don't want to just flood the building with kids and not have the proper amount of staff to serve them efficiently.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions? Ms. Mitchell, did you have another question?
I do, thank you, Mr. President, through you. So, Mr. Ferris, is it your vision that you're going to take all of Oakwood School or just a portion of it?
So for us, our vision is to occupy the left wing of Oakwood. If it's shaped like a U, just the entire left hallway, it would give us a direct access to those 10 classrooms. We'd be able to, continue to monitor everything as need be, while, obviously sharing the gym space, and then the cafeteria cooking space as well.
Mr. President, if I may, just one more comment, because I would love, and Mrs. Davis would as well, and the mayor, we shared this with you, we want a senior center in Oakwood School as well, and I think that would be a great opportunity for our seniors to mentor the youth and to work with the youth, and I think it would be a great collaboration.
Yeah, I feel like multi-generational programming
Absolutely.
is a big key, within the city. Just being able to, have people tell those stories and being able to communicate, through barriers that may normally be placed in front of them on a day-to-day basis. So, for us, we currently have different things that we do as far as like with a few different senior living centers where we do Grand Friends, we call it. We do different gardening projects. We read via Zoom. The sky's the limit as far as that goes, and we're pretty much open to everything.
Very good. Ms. Keys?
Yes, through you, Mr. President. First of all, I want to say welcome home. And I also have a question for you. How do you transport the children from around the city?
Right now, we pick up and drop off all students, besides the ones that parents drop them off. So we have 3 vans right now. Obviously, with the growing population, that means we have to grow a little bit more efficient with the way we do that. We've had talks with, the city of Elyria schools, possibly being able to bus them from their respective schools to us, and then us being able to take them home to be a little bit more efficient with that.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Mayor Whitfield, did you want to weigh?
Thank you, through you, Council President, and thank you again, Mr. Ferris, for coming back home and bringing your services and your talents home. So we appreciate that, and I just want to echo the sentiments of the council members that they mentioned. I think it's a great opportunity for partnership to utilize the space. A part of the vision that we've started to explore is with them occupying one wing and then us breaking out the classrooms to be specific for potentially senior programming for young people with special needs, for a technology room. So that has come through myself, Director Reardon, the consultant we worked with last year, who's still been working with Pat Hoagland. We all did a tour out there and kind of did some visioning. So it's exciting to see it start to come to fruition, and I think the timing couldn't be better.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Ferris. We look forward to further discussions and dialogue, and seems like endless opportunities.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa Shea, 519 East Avenue, American Rescue Plan.
Teresa, is your microphone on?
Thank you. I like help. Thank you. Okay, so I'd like to talk to all of you tonight, our council president, our new mayor, Kevin, and Ted, and all the people here I've missed. I was able to view the town hall meeting from last week for an easy link was sent to me by a neighborhood website. I participated in the 2 surveys, transportation and use of the $9 million. None of what I said was mentioned, drowned out by others who participated or most likely minimized. The American Rescue Plan money should be used firstly to reopen our city. It doesn't feel open, Kevin. I have bad legs. I had to walk all the way around to the back. There was no sign at the front. And I do not get the impression that all of the different places are full of employees. I think it would have been nice to inform some of us about that. I do read the paper every day, if that's got a source. I don't know what the security thing is. You should have all the doors open. That's my opinion. Use the money to strengthen our city to help repair the devastating effects of the COVID pandemic. We need to bring our employees back and refill the departments that are not full. The pandemic taught me to value those who stayed on and went on to show me how kind and dedicated they were from all departments I needed. Some departments helped me extra without asking, such as sanitation and streets, and others helped me when I asked and no one else would help me, wastewater. The city took care of me, and our good employees and department heads had to be recognized and valued and reinstated. This is the core of our city. The summer camps program should be up and running with the original full staff, not all part-timers, but some of the old-timers. I participated in the surveys for transportation and use of the American Rescue Plan. None of my comments were anything I heard at the town hall meeting. I'm saying that twice because I'm mad. Seniors is not the same to me as citizens, the word seniors. I am a citizen, and those of us forgotten, invisible older citizens need transportation, and we too need to be rescued. This administration and the Lorain County Health Department are not rescuing us. Good for the non-disabled and all. What about the people like me who have disabilities and can't walk 27 blocks to the grocery store? For 4 years, I tried to get the commissioners to get buses. It would have been 5 if it hadn't been for COVID. This administration and Lorain County Health Department overlooked all of us hidden away in apartments and in houses who worry about our futures and getting to the stores. There are car programs. I know of one for younger people. I did call them. They're going to see if they would ever consider working with, you'd have to give them money, but working with seniors to get cars. But there's nothing for older, poor people because they need federal money for that. The American Rescue Plan needs to work to help older and disabled citizens get cars. Community Action runs the other program, but they said to hold off until the director gets back to me, and I'm really not in the position to be making deals, but I wanted to give you that information because I had heard about the other program, and it sounded very promising. I'm from Minnesota originally, so I think in terms of ice and snow on a day like this, but they often talk about how the Inuits or Eskimos, when they're done with the old people, put them on an ice floe and let them go off on the ice floe and die. And that's what it's like not to have transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shea, for your comments. It's good to see you. I'm glad to come back up to council chambers. There was miscommunication at the last meeting between myself and the mayor in regards to the comments that were being relayed, not only for those individuals here in the audience. So there's going to be more time for that discussion with the use of these dollars. We know that there's guidelines and policies that we can only follow. So we appreciate you coming up and voicing your concerns. We're moving on. Resolutions, first reading.
Actually, reports of standing special committees.
Oh, excuse me, reports of standing and special committees.
There are none.
Resolutions, first reading.
There are none.
Resolutions, second reading.
There are none.
Resolutions, third reading.
And there are none.
Ordinances, first reading.
Sponsored by Utilities and Finance. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a renewal to lease real property located at 799 North Abbey Road, owned by the city of Elyria, and declare an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Is there any further discussion? On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-91. Sponsored by Finance, an ordinance authorizing all actions necessary for the mayor to accept the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council NOPEC 2021 Energized Community Grants Funds.
Mr. Tolet.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second. Second by Mr. Baird. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-92. Sponsored by Utility Safety and Environment. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for the Clark Street Water Tower improvements and declare an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-93. Sponsored by Utility Safety and Environment. An ordinance authorizing the use of city-owned real property located at Ely Square for third Thursdays under guidelines and procedures is adopted by the Elyria City Safety Service Director and declared an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Simmons. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-94. Sponsored by Utility Safety. City-owned real property located at Ely Square for the purposes of a seasonal farmers market under guidelines and procedures is adopted by the Elyria City Safety Service Director and declared an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Ms. Simmons. Is there any further discussion? Question on the suspension. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-95. Sponsored by Finance. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2016-6, known as the salary ordinance, to create 2 new part-time seasonal positions and declare an emergency.
Mr. Tolet.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Baird. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-96. Sponsored by Community Development and Finance. An ordinance approving the application for the Downtown Facade Improvement Program created by Ordinance 2019-19 for improvements at 212 East Avenue, Elyria, Ohio.
Mr. Tolet.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Ms. Simmons. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called on the suspension. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-97. Sponsored by Community Development and Finance. An ordinance approving the application for the COVID-19 Emergency Loan Program through the CDBG for the year 2020 COVID-19 Response Action Plan Amendment for financial assistance for Affirmed Home Health LLC in Elyria, Ohio.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second. Second by Mr. Bear. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called on the suspension. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-98. Sponsored by Finance. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2021-50, known as the 2021 Permanent Appropriations Ordinance, to change funds in various accounts.
Mr. Tolet?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed in its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Ms. Davis. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-99. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Lorraine County Public Health for the development, design, and construction of Phase 1 of the Elyria Connector Trail in the city of Elyria and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be, I ask that this ordinance be considered without the benefit of a committee report.
Motion by Ms. Mitchell without the benefit of a committee report. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules and declared an emergency.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tolet. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question's been called. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-100. Sponsored by Community Development and Finance. An ordinance approving the application for the COVID-19 Emergency Loan Program through the CDBG for the year 2020 COVID-19 Response Action Plan Amendment for financial assistance for Susan's Sugar and Spice LLC in Elyria, Ohio.
Ms. Mitchell?
Mr. President, I ask that this ordinance be passed on its first reading under suspension of rules.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bear. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Question on the suspension. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Ordinance 2021-101. That's all ordinances first reading.
Ordinance is second reading.
There are none.
Ordinance is third reading.
There are none.
Committee calls.
Community Development requests the presence of the Law Director, Safety Service Director, Building Inspector, and Engineer on 6/28, 6 p.m. All items referred in council chambers. Joint CD Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on 6/28, 6 p.m. All items referred, council chambers. Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on 6/28, immediately found in the joint. All items referred, council chambers. Utility, Safety, and Environment requests Law Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on 6/9, 6 p.m. All items referred in the council chambers. And Strategic Planning Request the presence of the mayor, safety service director, auditor, and solicitor on Tuesday, 7/6, immediately following council. All items referred.
Very good, thank you. Miscellaneous and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Mr. Plesky, Finance Director.
I would like to ask that you refer to the next Finance Committee of Council the matter of the 2022 tax budget.
Very good. Duly noted. We'll put that on the June 20th meeting. Is there any other miscellaneous and unfinished business? Hearing none. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
We move into executive session, Mr. President.
Second.
Second by Mr. Tolet. We're going to executive session with no action to be taken, so at this
We got a roll
particular time,
call
we get a
vote.
roll call vote.
Yep. Mr. Callahan.
Aye.
Mr. Sierra.
Aye.
Mr. Oswald.
Aye.
Mr. Baird.
Aye.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Tolet.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mrs. Davis.
Aye.
Mrs. Keys.
Aye.
Mr. Jesse.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
So at this time, I would ask